Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey everybody, we're live at Wicked Horror Show. I'm Kevin, and as always, twice a month, we're joined by the 13th Wolfman.
Oh, everybody.
Tony has 9 fingers.
What is going on, people?
And Tony, would you like to introduce our very special guest?
I will. Tonight we have on the writer and director of Who's With Me, which is now on YouTube. You can check out Austin Allan James. How are you?
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, no worries. Like Tony had brought it up to me that the full movie is available on YouTube, which is huge. I mean, it's
everybody knows what happened, and a lot of the festivals that I was kind of considering were on the smaller side, and those kind of went away.
Yeah.
So I kind of had the decision to either wait another year on this or just kind of do it myself. And I decided, this movie was such a low budget, such a passion project that I really only care about people watching it. I didn't really make it to try to make a profit. So, I decided to just throw it up there and see what people think.
Yeah.
This is a depressing movie, dude.
Well, the thing is, it's very pandemic-y. That's the thing. It really fits with the time that we're in. Like, I know there's a lot of people that I know that are not comfortable going to the store. Like, I'm one of them. Like, I don't know. I'm supposed to go to a concert on Friday, and I have 2 tickets, and I've had 4 people say they're going to go and back out.
Yeah, I'm going to my first concert next month, and I'm a little nervous about it.
Is it like outside or is it inside? Do you know?
It's outside, but it's a huge stadium show.
Oh, yeah.
So
what is it?
But it's kind of a nostalgia show. I'm seeing System of a Down just for my 11-year-old self that never saw them. So yeah.
No, I saw them a handful of years ago. I think when Hypnotize and the other one were out. And it was an amazing show. It was fantastic. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure.
I'm supposed to see Primus on Friday.
One of my favorite bands ever.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm a bass player. So they're my favorite band as well. Well, one of my favorite bands.
I'm from San Jose, and I'm actually here right now on a job. So Les Claypool is the hometown hero.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's from the area. Yeah, so
that's awesome. That's huge. Well, we have something in common. I'm from Massachusetts though, so he just comes here and plays every once in a while. But anyways, so you've been in the industry, like you were a production assistant, and you've done other things. We're in some bigger movies too, like some movies that I find awesome, like Swiss Army Man. You were a production assistant on that. How did that come to be?
That was literally just an answered Craigslist ad that turned out to be really awesome.
Wow.
I went to film school here in San Jose, and not many productions come through here, but when they do, I've been able to get on a couple of them, just from being one of the few college film people that's into it. Yeah, so
that's awesome.
I got lucky on a few of them, and then kind of got the bug to come down to LA, which is where I'm living now. So.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's some people don't even know that movie. I mean, most people that would watch this show totally know this movie, but you were I don't know if it was a production assistant on the Steve Jobs movie as well. And
right. That was actually like the first kind of bigger thing I did, and I got that just through some people I was going to school with at the time. Again, these productions just kind of came and got the local college students to be PAs because why not?
Yeah. There's actually in my area they're doing a lot of filming For some reason, they picked my area. I don't know if it's tax cuts, but they're literally filming the new Black Panther in the city that I'm in.
Awesome.
Which is weird because it doesn't seem like a city movie, but it's unfortunate because I live in Worcester, but all the cop cars say Boston on them because no one knows where Worcester is. And but yeah, they've done like American Hustle was filmed here and like a bunch of stuff, but I can't even get close to these things. Like I auditioned to be an extra on the Ghostbusters that they did in Boston, and they didn't even bother contacting me. But whatever.
Yeah, I remember. Man, was it the late '90s? They were filming the Book of Stars in Seattle, and I was like right there, and I'm just waiting for Mary Stu Masterson or someone to come out just check it out because it's in my backyard,
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. They filmed singles, dude. The scene where Kevin Dillon lays down on Jimi Hendrix's grave, that was a mile from where I grew up. I used to hang out in that grave, that cemetery all the time.
Hang out in the grave.
in the grave, in that cemetery all the time.
That's dark. You said this movie was dark. That's pretty dark. Anyway,
that movie was depressing.
Whatever. so like, how did you come up with the idea? This is something that you had started before the pandemic.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, we finished right when the pandemic was beginning, but we had filmed 2 years before that, and I had just been working on it constantly in post-production since. I mean, honestly, I just tried to rack my brain of the single cheapest premise I could possibly think of that might still be, dramatic and interesting.
Yeah. And then it comes true.
Yeah, exactly.
No, when I was watching it, I'm like, oh, it must have been made at that point. Like in a pandemic, I'm like, it kind of fits perfectly. So hearing you saying, it was a couple years before it even happened, it's like it fits like hand in hand with that.
Yeah, that was I guess it's cool for the movie that it maybe made it a little bit more timely and resonant, but extremely not cool for the world. So
it's one of those movies where you can go, oh, 20 years down the road, they're like, oh, so when did this movie come out? You're like, I can pinpoint it right to the, remember when there was that pandemic?
Remember when everything fell apart? Remember when no one wanted to work anymore? Just real quick, Sergio wants to say hi. He's one of our regulars in the chat. So hi, Sergio. What's going on? Yo, Sergio. So yeah, you'd pointed out that it's a kind of like a simple premise, and it seemed like it would be less difficult to film because it's cast wise, you have a turtle, you have a guy, and you have a voice.
Right.
But still, I still think that it was done very effectively. Like it was you felt for the guy, and and I think it's because of the time we're in that it resonated more with me, I think.
By the way, that turtle has a name, Lady Turtle.
I'm just saying. But technically, isn't it a tortoise?
She is. So I guess there's 2 turtles that live on land, and she is one of those kinds of.
Oh, okay.
So
it's not a tortoise, but it's a land turtle.
Exactly. Apparently, there's 2 species of land turtles, and I've had one. So
nice. Yeah. What's the species? Do you know?
It's a Chinese box turtle.
Okay. So. Yeah, we have red-eared sliders, and those are in the water. And they're just, I never thought I would like turtles before, and then I'm just like, I just watch it, and I'm like, okay, this is fun.
And what exactly did the character feed it? Because I mean,
it was a worm.
That was worms, which is what
because I couldn't really tell. I mean, it was the lighting was a little off, and it was kind of like, did he drop like a cricket or what?
Big ass cricket. Get me the hell out of there. No, yeah, bloodworms, they're gross. Like we have them as well in the freezer. We have a freezer full of, not full, but all these weird things that we feed animals. Tony's face. He's just like this.
I mean, I know that with like lizards and snakes and stuff like that, you can get mealworms, you know.
Those are gross too.
And those, whenever you see, like when you're watching a movie and they're like, oh, look, it's maggots. They're showing mealworms.
Because they're bigger. They're bigger than
they're bigger and they look better than just a little thing of rice.
Just a little side note, totally not on the talk of the movie, but on mealworms. Those are the things they used to grind up and put in McDonald's hamburgers, and it was on like a 60 Minutes thing or whatever, and then they had to stop it because it was a filler. Anyways, keep that in mind next time.
Poor Tony. Tony's over here going.
Well, I was more of a chicken nugget person. Probably even worse at that point.
You don't want to know how those are made. Yeah.
I can imagine.
The pink slime, yeah. Anyways, so you said it took you 2 years to do the filming. I'm assuming it was like you were just doing it with spare time. I'm assuming between jobs and stuff.
Well, the actual production, the shooting was 12 days just in a row. I just made my buddies take 2 weeks off of work, and I said, come live with me for 2 weeks, and hopefully it'll be, have been worth it in the end. And then the 2 years was really just, I completely did everything on this movie, for like all the editing and all the, sound editing and all the coloring and all that stuff just took me a while just to technically do, just on top of making, the creative decisions on how I wanted it to move. So, was just doing 100 people's jobs for 2 years straight, but but it was enjoyable.
Like that.
Yeah, but it's a passion project, and that's the thing. And like, the YouTube thing, I think is a really good idea. I mean, it's something where if people can like donate money if they like it, right, to go towards the next project. Isn't that something? Is there something in the description?
That's in the description. There's a PayPal and a Venmo if people feel so inclined. But like I said, at a certain point, I just wanted as many people to see it as possible, and hopefully, it'll lead to something.
Yeah.
Would you ever think about somehow getting this out into the physical media? I mean, Tony's a collector, Kevin's a collector, I'm a collector.
Yeah, it's definitely something that as I've gone on various podcasts at this point, like there seems to be a point of interest. So I definitely would consider it. It'd be awesome. As I said, I've kind of been doing everything for this movie, so it would take me to just get the initiative of seeing how to actually do something like that. And
burn your own discs at this point. I mean, exactly. If you're doing everything else. No, I'm just saying.
There's some like burn on demand like companies out there where you can do like a small batch run, maybe even do like, because a lot of people will do like almost like a pre-order, so that way you're not going to be making way too many. You're not going to have boxes of them sitting there for years and years and years. I have boxes of CDs from my old band that are just like placekeepers for things. It's like, okay, this table's just pull a CD out and put it under there. Nice and balanced.
But you could also do just like a limited run at this point in time. As much as a fan of movies I am, it seems like streaming is now taking a hold. So I think that might be what it becomes, is like boutique labels putting out limited editions or just a certain amount of movies, and then I think that's what it might turn into. But that could be somewhere it's like, okay, I'll make 50 copies and first come first serve kind of deal, and that's a limited run of it. So
yeah, I will say the last piece of physical media I did buy was actually a VHS tape of a movie I really love. They put out a limited set of 100, nice. So I bought that. So that was the last movie I bought.
What movie was it?
It's called Buzzard. It's a really, really small movie, and actually the director of it's in my special thanks, because he was actually the first person to watch a cut of this movie, and gave me notes and was really generous with his time and gave me a list of festivals he thought it would be good for. And then, like I said, all the festivals went away anyway. But no, he was a super nice guy, and but I was a big fan before any of that. And
nice. So are you a horror fan in general, or are you just a movie fan? Like, obviously you're a movie fan, but is horror like, have you loved horror your whole life, or is it something where it's just like, okay, this is going to be a very uncomfortable movie because of what's going on, so it would fit into the horror genre,
Yeah, I'd say I'm just definitely a fan of movies overall, but certainly, honestly, if there's probably a genre I watch the most, it's probably horror movies, and crime movies are probably right there with each other. And horror was kind of the first genre I truly fell in love with around 7 or 8 years old. Watched a bunch of movies that I was too young for, and just kind of
I think that maybe how we all got into it. Yeah. Like, I know that's how I did. I watched like Poltergeist on like HBO or something, and I was like, oh my god, I'm terrified. Like, I don't know. I'm obviously a little older than you. But at the end of the day, Wolfie's older than all of us. Sorry. So Sergio always asks, do you have, like, if you had to answer the question, what is your all-time favorite horror movie, what would it be?
All-time favorite horror movie.
We know it's a loaded question, but
yeah, it's totally a loaded question.
Okay, I'll say my favorite one is The Shining.
Okay.
And I'd say the scariest movie I've ever seen is The Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. See, Wolfie didn't like The Blair Witch Project. I saw it in a packed theater, and I always say it like it was literally a completely sold out screening at a very large theater, and you could hear a pin drop in that theater. No one was doing and it was so effective, like in person and like at the movie theater. I don't know. I thought it was great too. I haven't rewatched it too many times, but that experience alone creeped the hell out of me.
But it just had that feeling of, especially when it came out that time, it wasn't like you had the internet booming and stuff, so you didn't know if it was real or not.
Yeah.
So
the internet was around. That was part of the sale on it.
Yeah, it was around, but it wasn't.
You could go online. I remember going online and looking at their website, and they had a fake website up talking about the whole background of all the Burkittsville stuff.
But the internet wasn't what it is now. Obviously, it's changed a lot. It wasn't in your hand all day long. So it was something where
just because of phones,
right? Well, you have a landline, so no. But I don't know. I mean, it's stuff like that where the marketing I thought was just done very well. So it was effective. Like I know people that's their favorite horror movie of all time. Like people that I know that are like huge horror heads. Like their whole house is like ridiculous. Like Joe from forget the name of it. The Horror Squad. Yeah. He's got a giant Blair Witch Project like tattoo. It's like beautiful. But I don't know. It's all give and take, you know. Not everyone's gonna love everything. So has the response for Who's With Me has it been like mixed? Has it been good, bad? Like,
yeah. Honestly, of everything I've seen so far, which is basically the Letterboxd page than just whatever people are writing on YouTube, it's been way more positive than I was expecting.
That's awesome.
It's a good movie. I have one question, but I'll talk about that later after, you know.
Okay. But
well, I don't want to give anything away. That's the thing.
Oh, you mean after the show you'll ask him?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I mean that's a plus because there's a lot of people who are very negative, you know, and there's a lot of people that are negative for no reason. So it's good that it's getting like it feels almost more like an artsy film to me anyways. So I don't think it's gonna like hit with everyone, but
it felt more drama to me than artsy. But I mean, I get where they're trying to go. I like these movies. I like the kinds of movies that take place in like where you can just have like one setting and go through this gambit of emotions, you know, because that's what happened. The only thing I didn't really I quit paying attention to was that during the title cards, you know, the act cards where it said estimated time unknown, what time. I quit looking at those after like the third one because I just didn't care. No, I didn't care how long that they were doing this. I was like,
it doesn't even like the whole time it doesn't change, but it like the thing is the words on the side, like
that was cool. The fact that he could come up with all these break down like anger and then each letter had a word for it. I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. That took some time. Brother Max says he had the same experience with Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, I saw that in the theater as well. And even though it's not the best movie in the world, in a large group setting like that, it was very effective, you know?
I mean, the first time you watch those movies, it gets you. But once you see it like
then
5 times...
The unfortunate thing is Blair Witch Project kind of spawned all of these found footage movies. But yeah, I don't know. It's whatever. There's good and bad in everything. Like, there's how many clown movies? There's some really, really awesome clown movies. There's some way too many bad clown movies, but
yeah,
whatever. It is what it is. So I actually have the trailer. I grabbed the trailer from YouTube. So let's play that for the people that are watching. So that way you can see this. And then keep in mind, this movie, the full movie is available on YouTube. And if you like what you see, you can always donate through PayPal and Venmo, right?
Right.
Right. So so you can help fund his next project, which we should talk about if you have anything in the works. But here's the trailer for Who's With Me? ? Here we go.
Hey, have you seen the TV? Do you have any idea what's going on? I don't even know what day it is.
You think this is happening all across the city?
Everybody must have got out before we even knew what was going on.
You probably don't want people to panic.
Hey, if you can't go outside, we can hold out. We can make it at least one more day. Could be the day we get safe.
You get a peek just to see what's going on out there.
Hello?
We can't do a single thing about it anyway. Everything will go back to the way it was, I promise. We'll be all right. I need you to keep going.
God, I just wish I could hear what's going on outside of these fucking walls. You have to promise me. Get here already!
We can't be alone.
You keep thinking that any day somebody's gonna come and save us.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I know you've got cabin fever right now. Believe me, I've got it pretty bad too. We will take this moment by moment together. Just stay with me.
Don't leave me here alone, I can't!
It's a weird day. Why not?
Well, not this channel. You have to go to Who's With Me YouTube channel, and it's there. You just go watch it.
So I must say, since you did everything for the movie pretty much, usually even when people are starting or doing the first film or whatever, they usually have a team around them. So everybody does. So wearing all the hats in the beginning, what did you find to be like the hardest part of it? Was it the directing part, the behind the scenes kind of deal? Like what since you did pretty much everything, what was harder than you expected, I guess?
That is a great question. I mean, I guess the thing I had least experience in was like the very technical side of editing, like just, sound editing was basically, I'd never gone extensively into music files and dialogue files and, do all the technical things like that and mix it. That was probably the thing that took the longest just because I was the least experienced at. Probably the hardest, like creatively, was probably just editing on the spot, or I guess making dialogue changes like on the day of, just hearing something and going, I think we can lose that. I think we can change that. Even though we had read this script, 40, 50 times out loud by then, just, getting in the room and actually filming it. Yeah. Things will always feel different. And I'd never made something so long before. And, we shot this movie chronologically. So just whatever instinct I went with, we had to kind of just, we were stuck with that decision. So that was probably the most nerve-wracking part, but it was all pretty fun, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, shooting chronologically only makes sense. I mean, if you're
destroying stuff, like if you're like fucking up the house, yeah,
that too. But I was just thinking, I mean, if he's walking from the the bathroom to the kitchen, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, we need to set up for the shot that's going to take place, later. It's like that just shoot it all at once. What I was wondering is how do you cast for this movie? I mean, we know you got the turtle, that's yours,
How much did the turtle get paid?
Yeah.
Bloodworms?
It was that worm that you see featured in the film.
But I mean, like,
professional.
But getting like someone else to come in and go, okay, you're basically a voice.
Right. I mean, So Ryan and Emma, who are the two actors in it, human actors, they're just both really good friends of mine. Ryan I met at my first job in LA, and I did a few really low stake, just like dumb videos with him over maybe 6 months that I knew him before he moved back home from the internship. And while we were doing all these stupid little things, I was like, I think there's there's depths to Ryan that I haven't cracked yet. And I tried to. So when I went to go write like a real movie that was somewhat serious, I tried to write it in his voice, and for some reason I just had the faith that he would pull it off. And I think
it seems like looking at his IMDb, I don't see too much there, but I thought he was very good. Like I don't know, there was some scenes like the one where he's doing the faces in the mirror and stuff like that. I'm like, how many times did this happen? Because I'm sure everyone would have just cracked up, because I was like, when he's just like pointing at himself and stuff. I don't know. It was very weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, me and Steven, the DP, we are off screen just like cracking up at the monitor, probably two rooms away, but he has to stay somewhat straight laced. So yeah, it's all on him. I got to goof off the whole time. So.
One of the guys, Brother Max is asking if you ever read Rebel Without a Crew.
Yeah, the Robert Rodriguez book. Yeah, back in maybe middle school or high school. But
oh wow.
Yeah, super, super awesome. I wish I could have, donated blood for my movie, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays it's not too easy to do that, especially with everything that's going on.
Honestly, if there's anyone to follow, I mean, Robert Rodriguez, he might not have the biggest films out there, but he's
consistently awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. That's exactly where I was going to go. I mean,
I would prefer that. I was a kid.
Yeah, I would prefer just like less movies, as long as they're all as awesome as that, as they are.
Yeah.
We have other, like, don't get me wrong, I love Kevin Smith. There's a lot of movies he shouldn't have made, but I love Kevin Smith still. I watch those movies and I'm like, oh, Kevin, what happened? But I don't know. It is what it is. People need to put food on the table, I guess. I don't know.
People need to rediscover Robert Rodriguez.
They do.
I mean, honestly, I've dug like most of the stuff that he's done. I mean, he did Spy Kids, and that was cool and all. I get it. It's like he's got to do something for the kiddos, but
it's well made. They're well made.
They're well made. Yeah, exactly. But I love Sin City. That's my jam.
I don't know. El Mariachi and Desperado for me.
There you go. I'm not knocking El Mariachi and Desperado.
How dare you?
I wasn't.
Now you said this was a passion project. What kind of jump started it? Because I wanted, especially you said you were doing these, short videos and stuff like that. What kind of finally was like, okay, I want to sit down, I want to make, a feature film or whatever. Was there like a moment that you're like, okay, this is where I'm gonna do it and just, start filming?
Yeah, I mean, I just had, I'd been in LA for maybe 5 years when I made this movie, and I just felt kind of ready to do something, even if really small, kind of more substantial in length. And I had written, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 feature scripts before this one. I would just write scripts and, shelf them for a time later. And it was always kind of, if I had the budget, I'd make these movies. And, this was obviously, I restricted myself to, I want to write a script that takes no resources beyond what is literally in my means, in my house, in my friend's possession. Turtle. So yeah, I mean, and I had made a 10-minute movie with the same DP and the same actor, maybe, a year and a half before Who's With Me. And, I was just pretty impressed with it was a 10-minute movie that we made in one day. And I thought the production value was pretty, really good for $0 budget and one day. And, I was kind of like, if we did half as much material just over a 12-day period, we'd have a feature. So I just kind of clung to that idea all throughout this. And then, until we were all in the same room doing it finally.
So now that this is out there, would you ever revisit any of those 20 scripts and go, okay,
pull this off? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a few dream projects I have that would probably cost money. And there's one script I've written after Who's With Me that wouldn't be super expensive, but I couldn't make it just like Who's With Me for, you know, my bank account, basically.
You need investors.
Yeah, well, the thing is now you have, you know, the proof that you can do it, like available to anyone on YouTube. So, you know, that's pretty great. Because I mean, I love like film festivals and stuff too, but it drives me crazy. We'll have people on all the time, and they're like, "Oh, it's doing a festival circuit. Maybe you'll see it in a year or two." And it's like, God damn it, I just want to see it. It's like I'm not necessarily in an area that film festivals are coming to. Like I can drive to Buffalo, like take 6 hours drive to Buffalo, and go to an awesome one, but it's you know, it's just not around here.
Yeah, and we get one really good film festival every year, the Seattle International Film Festival. But
and I mean, you know, if it's a festival where you could sell your movie, you know, from like the filmmaking side, that's awesome. But I think at this point, you know, if I had gotten into a bunch of festivals, probably less people would have seen the movie at this point, and it would have cost me a whole bunch more money. So
you got to pay to go to those festivals. You got to pay to enter to even be. You may not even get accepted to the festival. That's ridiculous. By the way,
that's the crazy part. Yeah.
Before this whole pandemic thing like happened, me and a couple other guys were actually trying to like brainstorm and put together like a film festival that we wanted to do a regular thing and have it be like no cost to enter, you know, to submit or anything, just because I didn't find it fair. You know, there's a lot of people that like scrimp and save and like sell things they shouldn't be selling to make a movie, and then just like
Destiny Orndorff and Tristan Clay, they had their movie, and they were like they entered like 50 or 60 film festivals, and every one of them they got neglected. They got turned down to be in. It's like Kevin said before, you got to pay to be in those. So they dished out all this cash, and they got nothing.
It's not like it's $10. Like it's like some of them are like
$50, $50 to $100.
Yeah, $250. I heard for some bigger ones, but I mean, I don't know. You would know better than us. We just talk about movies. You make them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of only had a handful I was even like considering, and then, you know, once everything became clear that it wasn't even going on, then I kind of took a step back. But
they were trying to do the virtual film festival for a bit. I don't know how that ended up going. The only thing that was good with that is that it would give anyone access to this, but at the same time too, the experience of being there and even meeting people, like, you know, like getting to meet a director and being like, wow, I really liked what you did there, or, you know, seeing someone else, maybe you see an actor that you like, wow, I never knew who they were. Now I'm going to totally just, you know, check out everything they've made and I'll get a restraining order against whatever. It is what it is. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, sure.
I guess. But with you, I mean, I know YouTube is really good for like short films, but we've had that Halloween
the fan film. That's doing pretty good, you know, rounds. It's a little bit longer than a short. I think, what was it, like 40 minutes, almost an hour kind of deal. Yeah. But that one, you know, it especially you get the right audience or just people to share at that point in time. Like Kevin was saying, sometimes these film festivals, it's only for a certain, you know, area or market.
Yeah.
YouTube, I mean, at that point in time, you just need the people to click or share or promote, and you can get, you know, a whole bunch of eyes on it that you might not have had before.
And it's so the people that are listening and the people that are watching, go check out the movie, obviously, and share it. And, you know, so that way when he wants to get investors for a project, he can be like, look, I have this movie with 1 bajillion views on YouTube.
Exactly.
And look at all those thumbs ups. I don't know if that's the right way.
It's got 2 thumbs down. That's the sad part.
Everything does.
Yeah, there's always 2. Like, you know?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Whatever.
You can have a video of
he's
Jesus
probably one of them going, I didn't like it. I don't like my own movie. Thumb down.
Yeah, you know, I'll be honest. I thought the movie was going to be a lot more polarizing than it has been, at least just from the people I've talked to. So it's been a pleasant surprise that, you know, there's been some, you know, negative reaction for sure, but I was kind of hoping for more. I thought I made it more. You know,
like, I was reading the comments after the movie, man, and I mean, there's a lot of people that support you. I mean, there's a lot of good comments they're like, this is great for our first feature film. I can't believe that this is. One person said this is the scariest thing that they've seen. This is their kind of fear. And I was like, that's cool. So you've got people.
Yeah.
You got people backing you, man.
It's 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb right now too. That's pretty big. There's movies that I absolutely love.
That's weird.
That are like 5, like on IMDb.
How can I mean, I'm not knocking your movie, but like Kevin just said, how can this movie have 8.2 when like something that's really, really good, and this is really, really good also, but have like 2?
Because people
probably have a lot more people.
Oh yeah. He's got more people. They have more people being jerks.
But Wolfie was talking about, especially on YouTube. I think if there's a lot of positive comments, because IMDb is one thing. If you're gonna leave reviews or anything like that, you actually have to go there. Everybody's on YouTube all the time, so to gauge it, I guess you want to call it. YouTube would probably be the one where you get the most, because it's just so easy to just sit there. And so if you got a really good positive response on YouTube, I think that's saying something, because nowadays we talk about it all the time where everybody's a critic, I guess. And it's always like, oh, the movie sucked. Okay, why did it suck? Okay, but it sucked. It was horrible. So there's no substance to anything. So I guess maybe that's why it sucked. Maybe that's what you were looking for, is maybe some, intellectual, like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. It's a little bit
criticism. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So just a question about the filming. So I'm assuming, the female voice, was obviously recorded after the fact.
Right.
Like, was she there, like talking, or was it like one of you guys reading her lines, or was he just, going off?
There's a really demented version of this movie where I play Aelith from behind camera, and nobody wants to see that. But
special features on the DVD or Blu-ray.
But yeah, that's on set. It was it was me, and he had to play off my extremely wooden acting and give a way better performance.
That needs to be a second track that you could click on the Blu-ray.
Totally.
Watch it with either the actress or with him doing the lines, and I'm like, okay.
We did talk about a possible version where there is no voiceover whatsoever, and it really seems like he's descending into madness really quickly.
I like that. Yeah, a third track. Wow.
I was actually towards the. I don't know if that was where you were going, but towards the end, I was like, I don't even think she's ever even really been there. Like, that was my vibe. I'm like, he just lost it. Is all. And
that plays into my question after the show.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We don't want to give too much away, because you can go watch it right now for free on YouTube. Like I've said a billion times, and I'm going to say it a billion times more.
An hour and 12 minutes. 72
watch. It's a quick watch, which and it flows. So that was your apartment.
Right.
You still live in that apartment or a different apartment?
I've moved away probably maybe a year after that, 6 months after that.
Did you get your security deposit back?
The biggest success story of the movie is somehow yes. Somehow yes.
How did you fix the hole in the wall? Did you just do it, or did they, just spackled it with cream cheese or something, and eventually they're just gonna know?
I will say that wall was maybe about a third of the total budget. That is a fake wall that I built from that I just built for the months preceding it. Never done anything, construction wise before, but decided I was going to build this fake wall. But so that little sliver of wall is just over an open door frame that goes into a second bedroom that plays as Aelith's apartment.
Well, it looked like a wall to me, so that's good.
Yeah, I watched it throughout editing and was just worried. It looks fake. It looks fake. Like, I can tell it's not the wall. Like, oh my God, this shot, that shot, and then nobody's has actually.
I legit was just like, someone's gonna get in trouble with their landlord. Even still, if you're building the wall, you're just walking into your house with drywall, and someone's like, "What are you doing?" Like, just building a wall. He's doing additions to this apartment. How's that?
Yeah, I'm sure what was more suspicious, like, was after filming and the shared dumpster that are like apartment complex, and that was just like filled with lazy boys, and like just broken pieces of drywall and broken glass and all this nonsense. I was taking out trash for like 3 weeks after this.
It sounds like you had a good time, man.
Oh, yeah, it does. It sounds like really
it was a
he's smiling the whole time he's saying this, you know. So,
how many times did you make him do the can of beans scene? I would have just made him do it like 10 times.
that was, I believe I made him do it 3 or 4 times. And of course, I used the first take just to rub
that's
it.
The thing is, he's like, well, yeah, you should have done it and just been like, all those, and like, well, you got beans on your shirt, so we're gonna use the first one.
Yeah, we had to wash and dry the shirt after each. That was probably actually like maybe the longest
really
thing to do, just because we had one T-shirt of his different looks throughout the movie, so. We'd have to wash it off real quick and then dry it. And,
I'm thinking that more T-shirts would have been cheaper than having to do the laundry and not like all that time.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it would have been about finding matching T-shirts, and all the costumes were bought at Goodwill. So yeah, I probably should have just gone with generic like Hanes T-shirts and saved myself some time.
Go to TJ Maxx and get some for $5.
Yeah, retrospect.
Yeah. So what do you have in the works? Like, do you have any project next that you're planning on, or are you gonna take a little break till the pandemic like tries to cut the shit?
So I went a little crazy during the pandemic, and actually I've filmed 2 other movies, and then I started editing a documentary that's all archive footage.
Nice.
I currently have 3 movies in various stages of editing, and I was mostly just doing that to just not go crazy, especially.
What are they? Come on.
Yeah. What are the genres? Are they horror-ish, or are they like a different genre? Or
so one is a complete detour from any kind of genre thing. It's just a very like hometown kind of drama thing. Mm-hmm. That was like my earnest second movie. And then my documentary, which is the next thing I started working on, is very like Tim and Eric-ish, if you know who they are. Very
amazing. After the show, we'll need to talk. I have a framed Tim and Eric thing up there. I've seen them live multiple times.
That was the last thing I saw before the world fell apart.
Really?
Them on
tour,
yeah.
The last one I saw of that was them and Steve Brule. So it was like a joint show. Like half the show was Dr. Steve, and yeah. But and there's something I had you check something out afterwards.
Okay. So that was the second thing, and that's all archive footage. I got 600 hours of mini DV tapes from around the world, just on eBay and Craigslist and pawn shops and stuff like that, and just
what's the documentary on?
Basically,
without giving too much away.
I mean, it's nothing specific. It's just about the turn of the century, and it's just little glimpses into people's life, basically between 1999 and 2009.
That turn of the century. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Many DV tapes. So, so that's the second one. That's also about 70 minutes. And then I just came back to San Jose, which is my hometown, and made a very weird elements of horror, elements of Tim and Eric kind of stuff, elements of David Lynch, and like The Burbs. The Burbs was probably like the biggest inspiration for this last piece of insanity that I shot in my hometown. And that's a bigger movie with a big ensemble, but it's still just kind of all buddies that just work for free, and it's kind of the same core creative team as this one. So,
well, are your actors from this movie in any of those?
No, Ryan lives in New York now, so I've seen him since filming, but just to hang out. I have some family out there, and so I've seen him a couple times just that way. And then Emma is in LA, but these other 2 films I shot in Tennessee and in the Bay Area. So I just use people from, those parts.
So you use people but if you have a list, say your next project, you know, get a little budget and you want, you know, some actors or well known or whatever. Is there a bucket list of people you want to work with that you're like, you know, you might have written a role for? You said you have 20 scripts. I mean, so is there any like role that you're like, I want this person in a future film?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a bunch of actors I would love to work with. I guess some maybe younger people that, you know, maybe if I'm able to make a bigger movie. I thought everything since Twilight, I thought Robert Pattinson has been a pretty awesome actor, especially Good Time. Good Time has kind of been my favorite movie of the last decade, maybe.
Speaking of A24 movies,
exactly.
High Life's another one. Like,
yeah, Lighthouse. I've just really dug these, you know, really bizarre small projects that he's been doing, and now he's going to be Batman. So, but yeah, so I think he's cool. Paul Dano, he's a young actor. I really like Swiss Army Man. Like I also just like him. Both the guys in Swiss Army Man were like really sweet and nice to everybody. So that also just left a good taste in my mouth. But I love him as an actor.
Hopefully, it didn't leave a good taste in your mouth during the on a fart scene. Swiss Army Man.
I guess the best story I have from Swiss Army Man is that opening scene where Daniel Radcliffe first washes up on the beach or whatever. They actually forgot the dummy on the main set, and the beach set was maybe 2 hours away. So it was my job to go grab the dummy and race it over to set while, you know, because they had to shoot this thing before sundown. And I decided this once in a lifetime opportunity, I used the carpool lane and had Daniel Radcliffe in the passenger side, buckled him in, and was able to go to 2 hours without being pulled over. So
yeah, but the difference is that you with the dummy of Daniel Radcliffe looks more truthful than someone that just has some random crash test dummy sitting next to them.
That's pretty great though. Did you get any pictures of that? I would have just been like selfie the whole time.
I maybe have some personal selfies in my phone.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's great. That movie was crazy, and I love that there's people that are taking that risk. Like they're successful. Like things like the Greasy Strangler and stuff like that. It's so out there.
Love the Greasy
so out there. But it's and I legit was like, Tim and Eric made this movie. They had to have. They didn't, but it's like they did. Like I don't know. I credit them for being so wacky and making people realize it's okay to be weird, right?
Do you ever think about going like the crowdfunding route? I know how many people have talked about, you know, that being another full-time job kind of deal. Yeah. But, you know, for, you know, a bigger project or something like that. You ever think of that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we even, you know, sort of thought about it with this before I kind of really started cranking numbers in my head and realizing just how much how much I could make it for as cheap as possible. And I thought, yeah, you know, I can spend the $1,500 to make this movie. That was
$1,500.
Exactly. So that's, yeah. So, you know, it's kind of insane.
Most of that was for a wall.
Yeah, exactly. That was about $500.
The budget was for a wall.
Yeah.
And turtle food. So like the cameras and stuff, is that all stuff you own? Did you guys rent it or?
Yeah. So basically every piece of gear, either me or my DP owned. I own a handful of lights. That was kind of like our 3 main lights for each room. We just kind of move those around, and then the camera and the dolly and other lights and anything else that was fancy just came from him. He's an old college buddy. We've done so many things together at this point, and you know, I'm guessing he's just going to be, you know, probably my DP for everything I do, in, you know, barring something crazy happening. So
when was a dolly used? I can't think of anywhere that you really needed a dolly for.
So we had a Dana dolly, which is just 2 pipes with a little kind of thing on skateboard wheels. So it's not like a full proper dolly, but in some of the shots where he kind of runs from the hallway towards the TV or towards the kitchen, we kind of have those smooth kind of tracking shots with him.
Okay.
It's mostly stuff like that, or you know, some like slow zoom ins kind of stuff. Most of this movie was handheld, or a big chunk of it was handheld, but a lot of it, like the opening shot looking down on him that glides across the room, that's on a dolly upside down pointed at him.
Oh, okay.
So just stuff like that. It's only like a 6-foot set of pipes, so it can only move, you know, so much. But considering our movie takes place in 3 rooms, I wanted the camera to move as much as possible to not feel, you know, stagnant.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it, you know, it speaks to like your, you know, your education and even creativity, and like you've obviously learned from being on these other movie sets and stuff like that. It felt claustrophobic, but it also felt real, you know, at the same time. Like it was just like the decisions were good, you know. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's definitely something that I will recommend that people check out, because it's especially because it's $1,500. That's I've always been like, oh, I want to make a movie, and I'm like, I can't afford that.
Yeah, I mean, granted, you know, like if all was said and done, if I had to pay for everything that I probably should have paid for, this probably would have been maybe, you know, like 10 grand, maybe a little bit. That's what I was thinking, less.
5, 10.
But even that isn't, you know, it's not impossible. So
nice.
Yeah.
So just real quick, Brother Max is saying he's adding this to his 31 Days of Frights this year.
Awesome.
So yeah, so like these guys, they on their YouTube channels, they'll go through and they'll do like 31 movies in October. Yeah,
31 movies in 31 days. You know, and then we do a review on each one of them. Tony does a lot of his stuff is independent stuff, and he does all it alphabetically, which I consider insane. I would never. I'm doing 31 days, and a lot of the stuff is, I mean, every Sunday is going to be an Italian horror film.
Nice.
And then a lot of other unknown stuff. I mean, stuff that you'll see like on Vinegar Syndrome, Severin, you know, that type of stuff.
You should do every Wednesday being an Italian horror film, because isn't Wednesday Prince Spaghetti Day?
Yeah.
Well, I started out doing it on Sundays, and I've tried to keep the tradition alive for the last 3 years now. So.
In 3 years, you've been doing it wrong. So anyways, it's just about that time. We're going to wrap things up. So yeah, we definitely appreciate that you came on. Where can people follow you to see what you have coming up next? And you know, obviously the movie, if you have like Instagram or anything for that.
Yeah, the Instagram for the movie is at WWM_film. Right now, that's just the page for this movie, but I think I'm just going to stick to that one and just change it to the second movie, and then change that to the third movie. Just
there you go.
For on and on and on forever, because just even working on that thing felt like a full-time job for a while, to be honest. And I'm not a technophobe, but I'm definitely not the most technical person, as you guys saw as I was frenzied trying to sign on to here. So I can't even picture making a second one of those, so everything's just going to live there from now on.
Yeah, plus all the old posts will be there, so people can just scroll down and see the older stuff. So yeah, that works. And do you have like any personal like Instagram or Facebook where people can follow you?
I mean, my personal is just Austin A. James, but it's awfully boring, so I can't say the movie page is probably more interesting, but you know, if you want pictures of movie theater marquees or my turtle, then you can follow my page.
You know what?
Well.
I'm gonna follow it. Yeah, especially if you got those pictures of you and Daniel Radcliffe hanging out in your car.
Yeah, if you can scroll to the bottom, they'll be there.
Is it really? Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely doing that.
It took me. I made sure to do it, you know, a couple years after the actual release, you know, to not get in trouble.
Did you tag him in it? Oh crap! I didn't mean to tag
I was gonna say, did you tag him? I was gonna say the same thing. Did you tag him and go?
I'll recycle it for the movie page and tag him on that one. See if
just to mess with him. Go. I don't remember doing this.
All those crazy nights on you know, Swiss Army Man. You don't remember this scene, this part here?
Does it look like? Does the dummy look a lot like him? Like, is it like a high quality dummy?
So I will say it looks exactly like him, except the dummy is bald because it didn't have the wig at the time. So it is. It's not exactly a spitting image of him.
When
but
did I shave
everything
my
else,
head?
yeah, exactly.
I don't remember being in the Blue Man Group. Drugs are a crazy thing, let me tell you. But yeah, so yeah, go follow all that. And it actually, the Instagram and the YouTube links are in the description. If you're listening to this, it's in the description. If you're watching this, it's in the description. So yeah, so Wolfie, where can people find you?
You can follow me on YouTube, the 13th Wolfman, Twitter at the 13th Wolfman, Tumblr 13th Wolfman the Prowl, doing the Wicked Horror reviews with Kev. Check out my YouTube. My YouTube is going to be fun because 31 Days of Horror is coming up. Tony, what about yourself?
You can find me at Tony Has Nine Fingers on YouTube, where I do movie reviews, unboxings. I haven't, been up with it, but come October, you'll get 31 reviews. Tony's Movies on Instagram, where you could show where I show off the movies behind me. Tony Has Nine Fingers on TikTok, where I do movie reviews, no twerking. And I run the Wicked Horror Show Instagram. I always forget to mention, but the Wicked Horror Show Instagram, if you want to see who's upcoming and stuff like that, or past guests or anything like that, Wicked Horror Show on Instagram. And here on the Wicked Horror Show every Tuesday, Kevin.
Just A Knuckle on Instagram, and every Tuesday, obviously, doing this and doing the reviews with Wolfie, and part of Secret Underground Hideout and Black and White Fright, all of which are on the Dorkening Podcast Network. Go to thedorkening.com for more information on every show, all a bajillion of them on the network. Thanks for watching / listening, and have a good night, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.